Alright everybody, welcome to today's lesson. For today we're going to be talking about a new time signature 6/8, which is definitely different than some of the other time signatures we've seen, and so therefore some different rhythms. But don't you worry, 6/8 is just as much fun as 4/4 and 3/4 was, maybe even a bit more, especially if you like to dance, and the only dance you happen to know is a waltz. Okay, so let's break down this time signature here. In this case, the top number is 6, which means that we have 6 beats in each measure. And what does the 8 tell us? That tells us that those 6 beats are represented by eighth notes this time, not quarter notes. So that's why we have 6 eighth notes in each measure for the 6 beats. Also notice that the counting for these eighth notes is not 1 and 2 and 3 and, like it would be if we were in 4/4, where the quarter note gets the beat. No, because we're in 6/8, that bottom number is 8, so that means that eighth notes get the beat, which is why each eighth note gets its own number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also notice how the eighth notes are beamed. They're beamed into groups of 3. That's because you kind of want to think of grouping the beats into 3, which kind of gives it a waltz feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, what if we wanted to change this first eighth note into a quarter note? Well, that would look like this. That quarter note takes the same amount of time as 2 eighth notes, which in this case is why it takes up the first 2 beats. So I'm going to put a little dash there to represent that. And this is going to sound like this. Ready, go. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can also do the same thing on beat 4, change that into a quarter note, so let's do that. And this is going to sound like this. Ready, set, go. 1, 3, 4, 6, ta, 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 ta. So this next screen shows you a quarter note in 2 different spots. First we have a quarter note on beat 2, so that takes care of beat 2 through 3, because it's worth 2 beats. And then over here on beat 5, and that takes care of beats 5 and 6, since it's also worth 2 beats. What would this sound like? Here we go. 2, 3, ready, set, go. Ta, 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 ta. 1, 2, 4, 5. This next slide shows using dotted quarter notes. Dotted quarter notes are worth 3 eighth notes each. So if you think of that way, then you can see how 2 dotted quarter notes will fill up the 6 possible beats for a 6/8 measure, because they're both worth 3 eighth notes each. Right? What would this sound like? 2, 3, here I go. 1, 4, ta, ta. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is a dotted half note, and a dotted half note gets all 6 beats of the measure in 6/8. So that's why it's all by itself. So let's break this down. A dotted half note, if you can think about it, equals 3 quarter notes. Okay, and then those 3 quarter notes you can also think of equaling 6 eighth notes. So therefore 6 eighth notes equal a dotted half note, which is why this dotted half note takes up all 6 beats of the measure. What does this sound like? Well, here we go. Ready, set, go. 1. Yeah, probably didn't need to show you that, but you know what? I just felt like showing you anyway. Okay, so this slide, I just want to go through an example that shows and uses all of those things that we were just talking about and just puts it all together. So here we go. 2, 3, ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just like a few other examples in other lessons, I would suggest maybe listening back to that a few times just to make sure you got all the rhythms and how they work. And now that I think about it, you're probably going to be seeing some examples like this, very similar on your worksheet that you'll be doing for me. So good luck with that, and we'll see you guys next lesson.